I have immense pleasure to welcome Josefa, Salete, Barbosa, Cavalcanti. Brazilian names are always very long, but I think she's happy to be called Salete. Is that right? In Brazil, I think they take names from fathers, from mothers, and putting all together, and then you end up with very long names. But it's a great pleasure to welcome you here, Salete. Done a very long trip from Recife. She's a professor in the Department of Sociology at the Federal University of Pernambuco, which is in the northeast of this very, very big country. She's got a, please come in, she's got a PhD in sociology from the University of Manchester. But she told me at heart she's an anthropologist. Is that right? She's done 2 postdoctoral studies at the University of Wisconsin, as well as Cardiff University. She's worked there closely with Terry Marsden, who unfortunately can't be here today. And she's been visiting professor in a whole range of universities across the world, Cardiff University, University of Wisconsin, as well as in Germany, University of Hamburg, Freie Universität Berlin, and a range of other universities. She's an executive member of a research committee at the International Sociological Association. She's also a former vice president of the Latin American Association of Rural Sociology, and her CV goes on and on. She's got a lot of experience working in rural sociology and anthropology. She's written many papers, been involved in many books on this topic. The 2 most recent ones I'd like to highlight, really, and I was planning to bring you the latest one, which really caught our attention when we invited her. And unfortunately, I forgot to bring it along. It's called Labor Relations in Globalized Food. It's one of these expensive hardbacks, so it's probably unlikely that you buy it for yourself. But it's a very good collection of papers talking about the issues we're problematizing today. So I do urge you to look this up in your library. And she's done this work together with Alessandro Bonanno, who's based in Texas. Is that right? And there's another book that came out recently on a similar issue, Globalization and the Time-Space Reorganization, Capital Mobility in Agriculture and Food in the Americas. When I talked to Salete, she told me about her anthropological, sociological work in the northeast of Brazil, and she's actually going to these places, talking to these workers, working on these food farms herself. She's got immense detailed insight into work and labor conditions in Brazil, fruit and other agricultural products that are produced often primarily for export. But she doesn't stop there. She does connect it then to wider commodity chains, value chains. She brings the dots together. We're collaborating with various people, researchers across the globe, trying to get a sense of how globalized commodity chains in the food sectors work. And please welcome Salete for us, and very pleased to have you here.
I wanted to thank you all who are here in this seminar, and for your contribution to the understanding of the problem that come out of the intersection among spheres of producing distributing, eating food, and especially related to work, labor, and political economy of our food system. Here defined as the major focus of our agenda. I must say that this title, of course, is more than something, is more than what I can tell you today. It's like a research agenda. Yeah, I think this is what links together the people who are here today. We want to understand what's going on. And I wanted also to mention, to start, something that got my special interest, going to one of the offices of the people working in a big firm for export in the northeast of Brazil. So there was a chart like this and say, eat 5 fruits a day. That was this idea. Yeah? So then it's there in the field. And in another visit to Uruguay, they sell orange, they export orange. And then there was a sign over there, don't eat the fruit. So this is the complexity of saying you have to eat 5 and don't eat the fruit, this fruit, the orange was there. And in much of the places where we see this idea of people working to produce this quality food, good quality food, we have to think about this. Yeah, what do the workers can receive from this? Yeah, what comes out of this? On the other hand, I must say that when I started working on this subject in the northeast of Brazil, I found that we were in a very good experience for workers who, having this big experience in Brazil about the migration, because the land distribution in Brazil and the agrarian question everything that contributes to a long run of people going from the, for example, the plantation area to the other areas. They went to the northeast, to São Paulo, the southeast Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. They went to the Amazon in the rubber project and everything. So there is this line of people going somewhere, trying to find better conditions. So this big project in the San Francisco Valley was promising in the sense of giving more opportunity for these people with jobs, better income, and so on. So my interest in this area of research came about 20 years ago now, when I and colleagues started by looking at recent development in the San Francisco Valley. And by 1993, in a visit to UK, I asked for an appointment with Professor Terry Maslin. I knew he was working in this area, and I wanted to get to know him. And he was already being invited by another colleague in economics to visit the San Francisco Valley, another colleague in economics in my university. So since then, we started a collaboration, and he visited the area. We put together a seminar that was held in Recife with other research and so on. So we start to bring together this issue of looking at globalization and local development. And by doing this, I was coming directly to what is happening to the workers. I talked about this Northeast region. Say, the Northeast region, you might have known, some people would say, the poorest area in Brazil, everything. Okay, now Brazil has new numbers. We, in certain sense, we are better off in the sense these people are becoming in better condition, but still, and it is very much also on the discourse of people which came about in the last election, in the sense that say, oh, these are the people that are not well educated and everything. But what I would like to call attention, and is with this presentation here, is that producing food for export offered at the beginning, in even the academic report and everything, would say this will provide jobs for about 10 people per hectare. At the beginning, it was more or less like this: 80% of the people working in hectare were women. So that's another thing about the gender equity that came about. And also, what called the attention was this project is a result of a big project of the Brazilian government for electricity, for producing energy for the development of Brazil. It was in the 70s. So this area is very dry. The problem of the drought in Brazil is in this area. But this project of, there is this what we call the dam, a Sobradinho dam, make it possible to have water for irrigation. That's what, because you might ask, well, why are you producing grapes and mangoes in Brazil in this dry area? So this is in the dry area, producing grapes and mangoes because there is irrigation. Of course, this project from the start was based on one division of those who get the big part of the land and those who don't own the land. For example, there were these people who work on the margin of the San Francisco River, who stayed out of this project. Okay, so when finally this project for export, that's what I'm saying, that we are talking about something new, about 20-something years, this globalization. And then I also, working with this good group in Latin America, we see also, for example, Argentina, that has an experience with apples and pears, had this project, but the big change happened from the 90s to now. Restructuring, lots of new developments in this area. Okay, so then to cut short this long story, they say that there was a government project called Plan VASP, Plan for the Development of the San Francisco Valley, who defined this opportunity to say, oh, this is very good, we are going to ask or to provide the infrastructure to produce food for export. But the division of land was like this: 6 irrigated hectares for economies, for a small one, up to 500 to the big enterprise. Okay, this was already defined, this division between those who control the land, and those who have a small plot. Of course, we already wrote about this. Small colonists, they could do very well with irrigated land, very well. And this is why it attracted lots of Japanese descendants who came from São Paulo to work there. So then, it's a number of family, 500 who came there to work with grape. So in a base of family farm, all right? So then with the family farm producing grapes, they became specialists in this and the big enterprise. All right. So this is, in all of them, for example, if you go to this Japanese small unity, we can have the owner, the wife, and other workers working together, yeah, to make this fruit for export. If you go to the field, the agro industry is something else. Another point I want to go before I go into this line, say like this. For example, the population of this area, the San Francisco Valley, increased towards after this project about 100. The population doubled. So the population of the region now, which was 20 years ago, for example, 209, now it's about 500 something. This the population. Another thing, for the Brazilian standards, minimum wage is in this area, the dry area of the sertão of Brazil. Some people work for a long time, very much in a base of just temporary contract and very badly paid. But what happened with this new enterprises or this opportunity provided by this new development in the valley was to offer better wage. Another thing, to offer what you say in Brazil, like you say, an ID to be a worker, and to have your work resisted. So this is what makes the workers very proud of it. So now we can show that we are good work. We have this resistance. They had it at the beginning. It was very good for women. Very interesting. They got a job. They got very much empowered in the sense that they went to the union. They work on agenda in a sense. Say let's get what we can get for better job, better living condition. And this is very interesting because when we start working on this, for example, in the field, the women, they would finish the work, they come early in the morning, and they would finish it by 2 o'clock, 2 in the afternoon. Good? So they can go back because they have done the work. And then later on, they start saying, oh, let's help the other one to finish, because there is a bus that goes from here to the place. So before, we can work together, so we can all finish early and go home. So this was something that happened. And later on, we have another sign that the things are changing, is that people in the farms or the agro industry, the field, start looking and say, oh, they could work more. And then they establish working by the piece. Okay, working by the piece. And then another thing was they have to they start seeing, they say the enterprise changing because there is a problem with the films too. The films are there, for example, they would call A now, and then the worker saw, oh, I have been working here. I remember once one worker, a female worker said, I didn't leave from here. I stayed 2 years working the same place. And now you see, my ID have four films because the film changed when they sell out, putting another name and everything. So she felt, oh, this is not very good for me because I wanted 2 years. It's good experience for the work. Okay, that's just to. Another thing is that there was a change in the number as the Valley entered in this international market, the global market, saying somewhere, say, oh, okay, you work in the field because the women, I remember I'm very, I would say, talk with the hands and everything. I remember once say, and the women there and cutting the grapes and everything, and say, and people say, oh, Salete, the grapes there and like this, because in California, I remember Bill Friedland saying, they cut like this because they got down. Okay, so then what happened? They start seeing that they have to do more than they did before. Before, they have to prepare a good bunch of grape and cut and prepare lots of tasks. Okay, there is number of tasks they have to do. But after this, they start to see that they are asking more of them, more. And they, lately, they say their work is not anymore only in the field. They have to be in the packing house. They have to wrap the grapes for export and so on and so forth. So this is another information, because you might ask after this, how many people are we thinking about? For example, is 120,000 irrigated hectares in this region. 30% more or less is for sugar cane, and the other part for fruits, produce fruit. Another thing is the wage. The wage is in minimum wage in Brazil. It's about $300, more or less. It's the normal wage. Before, the people laboring in the San Francisco Valley, they would receive this plus 10%. Let's say 10% of this part. And I just here recently an interview with someone in the syndicate, the union, the rural workers union. And she said, before was this 10%. And the next, as the years go by, they start to offer 10 reais. You see, that's a kind of more symbolic aspect of it, not 10%. Because the workers go and come and go again. So then 10%. And then she said, the last conference, the last convention, this agreement, they have to write, they say, now they are offering 9 reais. Wage plus 9 reais. So then, what I'm talking about, to make it clear, is that I'm not saying that the producing of food is not good for the people in this region. It was very interesting, especially for women. There is beautiful sale of them say how they change their life. Because now they have proper work, they have a wage and everything. But also I have heard them say, but now it's too much. What they're asking us to do is too much. So as these 2 points, contradiction and this idea that I have a job, I have a wage, I have better condition. I'll talk about now this condition of work. But they say I can't handle working like this because they are more watched, surveillance, yeah, in the field because of hostility, yeah, you have to write everything you do in the field because of this third-part certification. So it's a lot of work. Everybody complains. Not only the workers complain about this. Producers complain. The film complain about this. They say you have to deal every day with checklists, with everything right. So that's my point. And the major point is saying this. The conditions of work have changed a lot. The worker have to work harder, and also something that I didn't bring this information, but nowadays it's very difficult. We don't want to change the people or to show the people talking and saying what they are saying. But I remember once, I existed somewhere, a woman say, before I could work, I like to learn, she said, I liked to learn to deal with the grapes. It was very nice. I could sing while I worked, sing, talk and everything. Now we can't do it anymore because people say because of the quality. They have to be watched. You can talk to this one because perhaps you miss a piece. Yeah? And then they have the men there watching, writing down what they are doing. Another thing, they are paid, they say, you have a piece to do, 700 bunch a day. They say, there are some the fluid, it's very hard to cut the way you should do like this. And then they don't pay more because of this. We work harder to have a bunch, but they want a bunch at the end, and they pay for the bunch, not for the work you do. You may take 2 hours to work in a bunch, but no, never. All right, so then this is the more or less what I wanted to bring now for the discussion, and we go with that. So another thing is, this is one, what I'm saying, I had a PDF that was okay, that's fine. You have, looking at here, you see a worker with a bunch of grapes, okay? And you have someone that controlling the temperature. Is this in the packing house? Yeah. You have a field in San Francisco Valley, and the women there dealing with the bunch, okay? And they work in the field with people watching this, okay? And the question is, everyone is working in the direction of this quality, okay? And also, there is this, they have to follow this grasp, what is global gap, asking define what is quality, in the checklist. That's very interesting because they use the the word checklist in the field. They said, we have to do the checklist, not in Portuguese, but the checklist we have to do. Okay, next one. Okay, this was kind of signs you can see there in one normal close to you, the nature choice of Tesco, that sometimes we come, people have direct instruction how to work for Tesco, for example. They have to follow. That's what also the producers complain. They say they have to, if they are going to send to Tesco, Baxter and Spencer's, they have to do different things, yeah. And they ask, even the box and everything is different. Can you put something? And okay, this is something that I call thinking the national interpretation. So Global Gap has all this information, yeah, what you have to do to have this, to assure this quality for the consumer and everything. But we have the national interpretation. So then for Brazil, they have to follow Brazil rules for work. In a certain sense, okay, minimum wage, it's paid, and everything, but we have to look at other, further to the conditions of work. Okay, this is the promise, yeah, making food safe and sustainable, consumer awareness campaign to inform about this. This is Global Gap, not me. Yeah, workers' welfare and safety. That's what they promise, and they have to assure the consumer and the retailers everything about this. So the food chain defining standards and quality, dealing with the market, controlling workers. This is me saying controlling workers. In the sense, they never see the workers, yeah? The retailer never see the work and everything. But in the field, the owners would say, the managers and everything say, this is what they are asked to do. And they usually use the Global Gap, for example. Then everybody say that there is someone watch, there is something watch. This is this quality standards, yeah, for them. And okay, market define. Another thing is that the producers in this area have to deal with markets. For example, they talk about taking opportunity of the windows provided, for example, that in October to December, more or less until January, by the end of December, they bring grapes to England, for example. Yeah, and so people have to work on this. Okay, this is it's a beautiful photo. It's called Anonymous. It's someone in the San Francisco Valley. The photographer Jan Lima. She showed the colorful group of people entering to work over there. So this also again with this the problem of increasing exploitation and inequalities. What type of the consequence that this demand generate for production practice and labor? So this is a question that we come to. We are dealing with, yeah. Okay, San Francisco Valley finally. Here you see the Northeast over there, and there are two major states, Bahia and Petrolina, and you see in the middle is the Lago de Sobradinho. What is this dam and the river there, the San Francisco River. There. Okay, and then you see the people working in the field, transport condition labor relations, you see, people there and also people watching them working, you see. And then they preparing. Okay, then this is it's a picture of things that are being prepared, wrapped to go to the supermarkets to go away. I didn't bring this real bag, for example, that you can see at Tesco, Sainsbury, because I say, with this, I wanted to say that the women, they are working from the field to the packing. For example, just to think, these probably, they are working harder in taking, in these states, the employment, the jobs in England for people who could be preparing this bag over here, yeah, if they send without this. But it's cheaper to bring this ready from there. Then you see the women there working with mangoes. I didn't talk about mangoes usually. Mangoes is also the second major commodities in the valley. So this, you see people, women working there. Most of this work was done but in the field are the men. So majority of people work in mango and men. And also, here you say the preparation, the fields of grapes, for you to see. This is a way how the people deal with the market. Sometimes you have first quality and the other quality. So then, and then you see if it goes to Japan, it goes to other markets. So the same producer, for example, a cooperative may have dealing with different brands, yeah? All right. So to do everything what I told you, sorry, you see this region, in this region, they have been working with these counter-seasonal windows of production, May, June, and November, December. So they work for additional period during the year, take advantage of market demand, fulfilling open windows, and also taking care of the international competition, because it's very difficult. They are saying that nowadays it's even more difficult for people who export also from there. Another thing is this: the people say that what has been asked by the big retailers is so much for them that they would prefer to sell in the Brazilian market. And so they sometimes take advantage of the better condition of the Brazilian population, and they leave the grapes there. But also, we wrote about what happened with the San Francisco Valley, with the credit crash in Britain, everything. So people stay there very worried, and what the ones who succeed in the market were the cooperative, the new cooperative, the new wave of cooperative. Small one that call someone here to sell and deal directly with this, because there is a problem in this region, are the brokers. I'm not going to talk to them. Talk to the next one. Okay, this is temporary. Oh, okay, this is sorry, just to finish. I say temporary and permanent work. Majority of this population of workers now is temporary base. So there was a big change from the beginning to now, temporary. You can pass. Okay, precarious, insecure, unsafe labor relation. So people say the contracts are very, very short. Even they have to receive an employment benefit in Brazil, they would have to work 6. Sometimes they say 5 but 6. And sometimes these people can't get this unemployment benefit. Okay? Okay, this I already told you. Yeah. How the workers express their anger against this thing. Every year, they have this permanent agenda. every year they decide what they are going to get. In this sense, the agenda is become bigger and come the same things from the beginning. They say, oh, okay, this women's right, very good. But sometimes they say, some people would, it's very difficult for some workers to get this. A wage, the flexible labor journey, also, because they are saying, take the hours, pay for the hours, and how can you do this? Extended hours of work, I already talked about this. Refectory, they talk about the need of having a refectory to mind this. Clean and potable water. They asked for this. They got this in the last year. This year, again, it comes in the agenda. You know? And transportation, just internet. They wanted to say that a long time to go to the field, and so then they wanted to be paid for these hours. It's a big issue now. Then you see these people coming with this is water. They bring this pot or something for water there. So what I wanted to say, for what we are looking at this, and even with many cases in Latin America and everything, so we could think about this, conditions and exploitation of labor, like a global convergence, people going from one place to another. And how about the form of resistance? The next, this is the first thing. So, okay, next one. So I am more or less trying to say the key actors in the quality food system. And so the regulation, global supermarket chain, everything there. Social movement, that's what you have been working, everything. And then the third-party certification, and including this, workload increase, cheap migrant labor, paid by the peace, unpaid training. Oh, it's another thing, but you can ask after. Reskilling of labor. So, is these questions more for us to discuss? And next, the last one. Okay. And this massive group of workers going to the field, about 250 workers, of them 100, but not in the fruit. This is, the fruit is about 70,000, but it's very difficult to count. Very difficult. They would say like this, but the union would say they are not resisted. So they say from 250,000, they have 100 in a permanent, no, not permanent, like they have a contract, permanent contract. Okay, that's for us to discuss. Thank you very much.